time when to sell or buy a home in the Ottawa real estate market. We decided that not only would you get Yetta Dekker,
or Ken Dekker,
or Ryan Dekker.
You'd also get Candace St. Louis, who used to be a Dekker.
So that's awesome. All four of us on the inside track on real estate with the Dekker team. And you got the whole Dekker team.
Yes.
Almost. There's quite a few that you're not seeing. However, you're getting the four of us because there isn't any more room on the stage to put everybody else. They'd have to be standing on our shoulders and it would be a bit much. And so we decided it was time to have a dialogue between the four of us and let you listen in around timing the market. Because one of the questions that we get asked again and again and yet again is this a good time to move? Is this a good time to sell? Is this a good time to buy? That's the question.
Yeah, and you know why people ask that question, Yetta?
Because they're thinking of buying or selling?
No, because they want to make a wise decision. And so they ask the questions that they believe are the best questions to ask when they're thinking of buying or selling or investing in real estate. And timing is one of those questions. Because they want to glean wisdom and make the right decisions.
Like it's the most commonly asked question right after what?
How's the market?
Exactly. Yeah. How's the market's number one, and number two is around timing.
And those are actually connected questions because they're asking how's the market and they're thinking how do I figure out when's the right time to sell? Because if the market's hot now and I've asked this question 10 times over a certain period of time, now I know when a good time would be to sell because I know how the market's doing. I know, so to me they're very connected questions.
And some people think that, interesting enough, no houses sell in the winter.
Right.
Yeah. They want to wait for the spring usually is a myth out there.
Right.
Yeah, it's
why is it a myth?
It's a myth because there is a good time to buy or sell every time depending on your situation throughout the year. And so currently we're in October going into November and it really is a hot market. I don't know about you guys, but I feel as busy as I did in June or July with people right now.
And almost as busy as April and May, which are, May is number one typically in terms of volume. And yet that doesn't mean it's the right time. So Christmas is one of those times where I am frequently told nobody moves at Christmas.
Well,
so I might as well
buys.
No one buys at Christmas.
Nobody buys at Christmas. So I might as well take my house off the market because nobody's going to be coming anyway. Candace, what's your experience been?
Yeah, so I giggle because every time I've had a client that's selling around the Christmas time, they do say, let's take our house off the market so we can enjoy Christmas and no one's going to come anyways. And each time I encourage them to keep their house on the market because, yes, your showings will slow down. Although those people that are looking for a showing are very motivated, or they wouldn't be looking in the winter, trudging the snow around Christmas, they are on high priority of needing a home during that time. So if you have a showing during Christmas time, it's a really important one. And generally, each time I've told them to keep their house on the market, it's sold around Christmas.
Yeah, before the show, you said, before we went on air, that there was a year where you helped 4 people in the week between Christmas and New Year's buy or sell real estate?
Yeah, and do home inspections during that time. Yeah.
Wow, the family like that?
Yeah, that was a busy time, and thankfully we were around during Christmas time. That can happen, and that's the nice thing with the team as well, is that one of us is going to be here to make sure that if you want to move, it can happen.
Yeah, I remember one client, let's call him Dave. He bought a house on Christmas Eve, and then on New Year's Eve did the home inspection. So I don't know whether that's a sign of my availability or his, but what a great present, great Christmas present to buy a home on Christmas Eve. And sometimes I think people think, well, we're off for the holidays, so nothing's going to sell. But other people are off on the holidays, and that's when they have time to look for a house.
That's right. Yep.
So it's
Yeah, and it's not just about making, a statement saying, spring's better, or Christmas is better, any of these times. It's really about timing it for the individual who's selling or the individual who's buying. And then also sometimes, so I've helped someone sell an investment property, and we decided to take it off the market as it was getting close to Christmas. And we waited till March, and we ended up getting 30,000 more. But it's because we were watching the market, we were seeing where it was going for that particular neighborhood. I wouldn't do that with every house. I did that with this house. And so it's a very educated thing, knowing, yes, now's the time to sell, or no, it's not. And then also the second part is the family dynamics.
Yeah, and with an investment property, there isn't as much urgency or motivation, so to speak, because typically timing is affected by people's motivation, which could be they got a company transfer and they have to move to another city, or health reasons, they just can't stay there any longer, or they need a bungalow instead of a 2-story because they can't do the stairs, or financial reasons. Like, these things don't wait. If the bank's going to take the house, don't wait till they take it. Let's get it sold, because you'll generally always net more money if you sell it than if you let the bank sell it.
And like even the Christmas thing, and I can't let go of that thought, or Easter for that matter, or a summer break or March break. A lot of people go, I don't want to show in March break. Well, somebody buying a house that's coming from out of town often will come at those times where they're already off school or off work or have the flexibility to come. So those holidays, as much as we'd like to say, we don't want to work them holidays either. True, right?
Yeah.
And that is, again, as you mentioned, Candace, part of the team dynamic. It allows one or two of us to maybe chill with the family and maybe watch the grandkids while somebody goes out and works. And even when it's other team members that are with us supporting each other through those holidays, so that we can actually be available, I don't want to say 24/7, but certainly during rational...
Don't even say that.
No. Yeah. During rational daytime and early evening hours, to be able to help the client that is coming in from out of town or the client that is leaving town. Those logistics sometimes actually make it necessary to be available when you wouldn't think you would want to be available. So sometimes maybe have your Easter dinner on Saturday instead of Sunday, depending on how many people are coming for it when your house is on the market. And we've done those things, right? Help navigate that. It adds a little bit of complexity maybe. And yet if it's the one that's going to buy your house, which I remember just this past Easter, helping a family do exactly that. Shift their family dinner because we had several people that wanted to see it, and they were in fact in from out of town. And are they ever thrilled they did it because they got their house sold? Mm-hmm. And those people might not have come back because they were under an urgent schedule. So that means they would have looked at something else, seen it, liked it, not known what they didn't get to see. They wouldn't have missed what they hadn't seen. And so availability is a huge aspect of timing the market, right?
Yeah. Other motivational events like having a child. I remember Ashley and Dan, the term is they are pregnant, right? Not she was pregnant. They were pregnant. And yeah, it's the new world I live in.
And she was carrying the baby.
She was carrying it. Yes, he was not. And so they wanted to time their sale that would happen, and they'd get a sale before the baby came. Now, the closing, I believe, didn't happen before the baby came, but the sale did. Mm-hmm. And that was very important to them because they didn't want to have showings with a newborn.
That's not fun. So timing your life. You've heard me say that before if you listened to the show. And there are other shows on similar related topics that you may want to go find, because it will just give you, every time we talk about it, we talk a little bit differently and go a little bit deeper or a little bit sideways or up, down, round, and have different stories. And you never know what story is going to relate to you and which one is you in essence. It may not be your story, or it may actually even be your story. and yet very similar to the stories we're sharing. So you may want to go watch some of those on Dekker Team YouTube channel. And what's interesting around things like babies, and you think, I don't want to do showings while I have the baby, and yet moving with a 1 week old is awful. So how do we then negotiate a longer closing? So there's a couple types of timing. It's not just the timing of when we're on the market, it's also the timing of when we're actually going to make the move. And those are two very different things if we choose them to be. If you choose them to be, and then we help you navigate that, whether it's a long closing or a short closing. Right? With a vacant property, I just helped a client the other day, and we got a great offer on a property. It was vacant. It had been an investment property, and it was time for them to totally relocate out of this market into another market. So it was really, time was of the essence. And we got an offer with a 3-week close. Well, now all of a sudden it's all happening within 4 weeks. From the time we put it on the market till we got the offers till they moved was less than a month. That's great if you're renting and it's vacant. That may not be so great if you're living in the space and you have nowhere to go. So timing all of the aspects of it is vital for us to help you customize, and it truly is customize the approach that's best for you. Because
I thought when they had nowhere to go, they came to our house.
that does
We don't
happen.
advertise that.
Oh, sorry. Are we on the radio? I shouldn't have said that.
That has happened. Actually, in our last family gathering, which was just a few weeks ago, a client came up to me and she goes, thank you, Yetta. And I'm thinking, what? Candace did all the work this time. I did all the work one time, and yet Candace did all the work this time that you were moving back into our great city. And she said, thank you for being willing to host our whole family in your home for a month. I went, oh, right. I'd almost forgotten. And she said, aren't you thankful that Candace actually did a really great job and managed to get us a house that let us go door to door? And I thought, yeah, I am. And yet I'd totally forgotten we'd even put it out there.
Yeah. Well, that's mainly because I put it out there on your behalf.
You did call and tell me. You didn't really
Because
ask.
it was the right house, and we really wanted it. And because of the seller's situation, they couldn't at one time move up the closing. And so it wasn't going to line up. And this poor family would be stuck somewhere. And so your basement apartment would be a great place. So yes, I did ask before I told them, but we
You didn't
did offer
ask,
that.
actually.
I think I did.
I think it sounded more like, Mom, Kim and Brian and fam are coming to your place.
Yeah.
Sound good? So that's kind of cool that there's so many different aspects of timing. And so it becomes a little bit of a full service conversation
Yeah.
sometimes. Not that we want everyone in the home at the same time, but Candace was verifying that there was nobody else there, because two families at the same time might be a little much, even for the Dekkers.
Yes.
So it's important to know that that's the rarity.
Yes.
That
Please don't plan on that.
Yeah, most of the time we can facilitate with our experience that the two closings are within very close, same day or very close. And usually what we want, if they're not going to be on the same day, is to have an overlap of maybe a week or two. So you can do bridge financing. It's not super expensive. And it gives you more time to leisurely. That's a horrible word for
It's a
moving,
smoother
right? 'Cause
transition.
it's a smoother transition.
much better.
Yeah.
But leisurely move is two words
It's
should
an
not be in the
oxymoron.
same sentence.
Yeah.
Because it's physical work to move. Even if you have a mover moving you, the packing or the getting ready, decluttering, getting rid of stuff, all that kind of things.
Well, and moving is not only physical, it's mental. It's emotional, it's mental, it's financial, it really taxes, it's relational, it taxes every aspect of your being. So that's another piece of the timing, is creating enough time, or the right time for you. I wouldn't say it's always a significant amount of time, because there's times where I get a call saying, you know what, I just need to know that this can be done in a week. Not so much the move, but the whole transition, the setup, the marketing, the offers. And amazingly, and maybe it's the 75 years of experience, maybe it's the collaboration.
You don't have 75
You're
years of
100?
experience.
Between all of us.
You look good for 100.
I do. I was, 20-something when I started in the real estate industry.
Yeah,
As were you two.
Yeah, so are we. Yeah.
You were a little older, Ken.
Right?
Late 20s?
I was a slow start.
And so just even timing, like that aspect of it, like what do you need? What makes you be able to, maybe it's not, what was the word, leisurely, but what was your word, Candace? Smoothly transition. What's the way we can all work together to collaborate to make that time aspect? Some people want the photos done 3 weeks in advance because then they know they don't have to get the photos ready at the same time as the brochures, and they've got more time to proof everything and read the story and just really sit in that. Other people want it quickly. So it's really us being able to navigate with your time.
Yeah, I have some clients that are elderly and they're moving from their giant house to a place that's a little more suitable. And they have a full house to figure out. And so for the last 2 months, they've had a professional who's come in and helped them auction off a lot of their things that they're not going to need in the new house. And it's making it a lot more saleable because there's less stuff in the house. And so it's great that way. And it takes time. So it would have been great, to list it a few months ago. However, the timing for where they're moving, it wasn't ready yet. Timing for getting stuff out of their house wasn't ready yet. So there's things that take time. And so there's so much to the conversation of, is it now? Is it the spring? Is it the winter? Or is it in 6 months? Like it's more than just how's the market.
Yeah. And just because it's a few months out doesn't mean that it's not time to involve us. Just like you explained, Ryan. You went in, you spoke with them. We actually went together once. You've been there a few times. And it's helping them navigate what makes sense for them and avoiding something that may harm them if they didn't have us in months prior to actually selling.
And sometimes it's years before. When it comes to the renovation conversation, there was a show that we did just 2 weeks ago with Clayton and Shelley, and I don't know, they haven't decided yet how many months or years out they are before they're ready to move. And yet they're thinking about what renovations do we do if we're going to stay long term? What renovations do we do and in what quality? And how do we do them if we're going to move sooner? So timing, there really is no time too early to start to ask yourself the questions. And here's the challenge that they ran into and why they called us so early, you might say, is because as they were asking each other the questions, they just really were creating confusion, right? Because they saw it pretty differently. Like, have you ever noticed that with it? Yeah. Have you heard the four of us? We see it pretty differently, and we have lived together or worked together. We've worked together for 10 to 25 years, depending on who we're talking about on the team. And so we've worked together in the same field, having these collaborative conversations. And even then, there is value in hearing the different perspectives. And so never mind when you're just starting to consider, do I make a move? Don't I make a move? When do I make a move? What do I do? What don't I do? They weren't getting the answers. And so one of the things we collaborated on was they're doing a pro-con list. And it's not about that there's 12 items on the let's go now list and one item on the let's go later list. It's what's the weight of those items. And so by us asking questions in a manner that they may not have asked them, or helping ask it one or two more times in a slightly different way, it gives them access to what they already know. They just aren't able to bring it to the surface. And so as they're navigating that, there's no time too early, because the questions about what to renovate can't really adequately be answered until they get that first one handled. Right?
Yeah. And right sizing is another reason to have the timing. And like I said, if the house is too big now, the kids have gone off to university, it doesn't mean you have to instantly make a change. You can wait. You can wait for the market if you want. One of the things with spring market, yes, a lot more houses sell. May, June, busiest sales months of the year. Traditionally. And yet, also the most number of houses up for sale. So you have the highest competition that you'll ever have. In the wintertime, most of the houses come off. So someone needing a house has basically slim pickings to find a house. And so it might be a good time to go onto the market. We've even sold many, many homes come on in January for the spring market, and they're sold in February or March before people even think the spring market's hit, and it already hit.
It's already come and gone.
Mm-hmm.
Well, not fully gone, but certainly come.
Yeah.
Yeah. So certainty. Talk to me about certainty.
Yeah. So in this market, you may want to sell and buy for whatever reason. And there's a certain fear of, well, if I buy a home, I can't sell my home.
Right.
Maybe I can't, and then I'm stuck with 2 homes, and then I'm in trouble because I can't afford 2 homes.
Or in a busy market, we sell our house and we can't find one.
So there's that fear of like, which do I do first? And so we've come up with a guaranteed sale, which adds some certainty to our sellers. And so, do you want to talk about that? Or?
Well, we've had it for a long time, and we don't advertise it. There's many companies that will advertise it as a promotion, like pick us because of our guaranteed sale. We don't advertise it because typically with a guaranteed sale, the homeowner receives less money.
From the guarantee because someone else is taking the risk. The real estate agent, in our case, the Dekker Team, is taking the risk. And so we're going to use, there's a percentage, there's a formula, there's a methodology, and it's pretty much the same that everybody uses across the board. And yet, if you end up having to exercise the guarantee, you won't likely have sold your home for as much as you expected to or would be if it's sold in the market.
And we do have a process through that we are making sure that we can't get more than that from the market.
Right.
And so that guaranteed sale will only actually come into effect if the market basically said, we don't want your home.
Yeah, and
Right.
it's usually like a 90-day term, and there's preset price that it must be priced at, preset price reductions that reduce the price, moving towards the guaranteed sale. So the goal is that we sell it before the guaranteed sale. The client gets more money that way, but also our fee is higher because we're taking a risk of offering a guaranteed sale. Now, we've done it a few times. I can remember one where we actually had to buy the house.
Right. We've done it lots of times.
We renovated it and resold it and actually just broke even. And a lot of labor went into it. Another time, we did it recently, and that was because they wanted a waterfront property, and they were willing to price it on market. We ended up selling it within a week for way over the guaranteed price. So they were tickled pink.
But they had that certainty of if it didn't sell in that week or a couple weeks and a month, then they knew it was going to sell for a certain price that they were okay with. And they got their dream house on the water and didn't miss out on the opportunity.
And that's really what it's about, is not missing out on that one that is that rare prize, that treasure that you're going, that I've been kind of watching for 5 years. And this is the first time I've seen the one. And some people are in a position to time it that they can buy that and then sell theirs leisurely, as Candace or somebody said, but a little more, with a little less urgency.
A little more grace.
Yeah, a little more grace in the whole conversation. And yet that's not for everybody because you can't risk owning 2. And one of the things that scares me is when I get a call from somebody saying, I bought a new home 2 years ago. It's now ready or it's about to be ready. And if I don't sell my home, I can't close on it.
That's with a new home builder, you mean? Yeah.
And they didn't involve us at that point. We didn't have the conversation. They didn't check out their numbers. They just knew it would all work out. And now they're stuck in a time crunch that is really uncomfortable. And any home is saleable, and any home is saleable quickly, provided it's the right price. And yet, and marketed, yeah, of course, got to be marketed properly. I guess we're not going to do anything unless it's marketed properly. So I'm kind of taking that assumptively, but thank you for that, Ryan. And often, when they've done the calculations, way too often, the numbers they've used aren't realistic. They weren't realistic for then, and they're not realistic for now. And so there's still a challenge there. So having us go with you to the new home sales site before you do any online searching, before you go into the sales sites,
before you email them,
before you do anything, calling someone from the Dekker team to say, hey, would you help me understand the whole process? And will you go with us so we can choose the right builder, the right location? Even if you think you know the location, sometimes the location in the development, we've saved people thousands and thousands of dollars and helped them avoid a poor choice because they didn't understand all the ramifications of the decision they were making.
Yeah, not every lot is created equal.
No, not every lot is created equal. And you can't
not
always tell till something's there that it's not created equal.
And not every premium is adequately put on the lot either.
Yeah.
And the sales center is there just to do that, is sell you a house for the builder. And so it's very important to call us and help us to work for you and to save you from something. Yeah.
Yep. So if you're thinking of selling your house, it's kind of a 3-step. I call it ready, get set, go. And ready is the wise counsel. That's the call us in advance. Get ready. Even if it's a year, 2 years out, get ready. Know what renovations to make. If you're thinking of changing your kitchen out and you're thinking, I'm going to sell in 5 years, it might still be wise to give us a call. And just, recently we were trying and didn't actually sell this year, a single family home, and they had spent over $20,000 on the kitchen and then another $10,000 on appliances.
They called us.
Yeah, so they spent too much on the kitchen for that size of home.
In that location.
Right. And so then get set is preparing your home for the sale. We walk you through that. And then go is bring it to the market.
And get it sold and then move. That's part of the go.
Yeah.
Go to the new place.
Go to the new place.
Or keep the one you've got as investment. There's a great option too. So are you ready? Are you really ready to remove the guesswork? I mean, I find all my clients make amazing, wise, brilliant decisions when they remove the guesswork. And sometimes that usually means getting some more information, asking some questions, having that free to you. I mean, we got to invest time, you got to invest time, but there's no cost up front to have that free consult with us.
So just reach out. You can call us or email us. You'll find us. Look on Dr. Google. Look up Dekker Team. You'll find us.